Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can come to learn how to understand and read body language, a place where you'll be able to learn how to identify who is lying to you and who's attracted to you, a place where you're going to be able to identify everything a person is thinking realistically purely through the behaviours and gestures they exhibit without even thinking about it, and such as yourself. The behaviours you put out into the world and the way you communicate without even being consciously aware. If you enjoy learning about body language and so on and so forth, just click like, click subscribe, and keep in touch with my videos. And if you have been watching my videos and you do want to learn more, I upload all my videos, the whole catalogue, a lot earlier on my Patreon. If you want to message me one-to-one, any inquiries, or if you want to even have me do a custom video for you where I'll pop it on here and it'll answer your question, completely anonymous, just click the link in my bio. Cheers. Without further ado, we're going to get onto the lesson. So it might be a relatively short one today, as I don't think there'd be too much to cover. So as of recent, I did a video on the chin jut, so the jutting out of the chin, or the raising of the chin. Today we're going to be looking at its counter opposite, which is the chin tuck. Alright, so the chin is pulled down and towards the chest, as you can see in the image before you. And if you have been paying attention to some of the videos I've been putting out, or if you are educated anyway, to some degree on body language, take a moment to think about what this signifies and what's going on with the chin tuck and the lowering of the chin. So, for a start, it's a very defensive behavior, okay? So the covering of the neck tends to be a subconscious means of protecting oneself from potential threat. Okay, so the individual isn't comfortable. It's closed body language, and those which are expressing closed body language are showing the world that internally there's some sort of struggle and discomfort. All right, so if they were open and not threatened, they would be exposing their neck. Their head would be up. It'd be defying gravity by the lift of the chin. Not so much that it's a chin jut, which we were talking about, but just a nice neutral position with the chin, and the neck would be exposed. So it's defensive. It's significant of closed body language. All right. So the chin jut, the raising, is a dominant, aggressive, potentially confrontational and prideful behaviour. This, on the other hand, represents a more submissive and defenceless and, well, I say defenseless. I use the term defensive. It's defensive, but it can also be portrayed as defenseless, dependent on the situation. All right. Either way, both sides of the same coin. They're not necessarily positive. They're not outwards. They're not open. All right. So if you see this behaviour, something's not necessarily right. If you're trying to communicate with them and get something through, you might need to sort of decipher what the issue they're dealing with is first and foremost, so you're able to manoeuvre around that correctly before you start, trying to tackle the wall. It could be something as simple as, they're feeling sad because their partner has, left for the week and they feel a bit lonely, or it could just be them deep in thought if they've left the iron on at home, So take it into consideration. You don't need to be too frontal and too overt, but just, pay attention. This is the whole benefit of learning about body language. So this behaviour may expose itself when somebody doesn't like what they've heard. So if you say to someone, "Oh, hi, it was great meeting you yesterday, things are fine. Oh, did you see what Tony did?" And you're not aware that Tony, this person, this man, used to bully this guy back in high school. All right, so you may see this behavior. He may subconsciously cover himself up through a lowering and a gravity abiding behavior, sort of soaking up in himself like a sponge somewhat. The chin comes down, covers up the neck in defense, and it may accompany with a cluster of behavior. So what we can see in the image is that the eyes are somewhat squinted. So that's also a defensive position because they're not open and relaxed. They're actually tensed up, clenched, which is a bit of a defense and survival mechanism to ensure that you're all closed up, and such as a armadillo covering itself up in the face of a potential threat. It may should appear smaller, okay, which is a freeze response, or it can be a freeze response. So you appear smaller, and what is smaller is less, taking up less space, and what takes up less space is less territorial. So a dominant, powerful, confident individual will take up more space, all right, which we covered in the man spreading video and that phenomena, whereas somebody who's a bit insecure and doesn't want to show too much of themselves to the world, doesn't want to be noticed, will cover themselves up more so. So this individual has made themselves smaller by bringing the head in, bringing the chin in, covering themselves up, all right, and that's it. So one last thing to comment on. It's seen a lot in children. If children don't get their way and they have a bit of a tantrum, and then they have some time to think, and they don't feel too comfortable that they didn't get their sweets or go out to the park like they wanted to, they may sit there with their head down feeling a bit sorry for themselves. And you may see this in particular relationships where there's an evident dominant partner and someone plays the submissive role, more than likely the feminine of the two, who will bow their head in respect to a degree, whereas the other stands powerful and dominant. All right. And that's it, that's the chin tuck. So you won't necessarily see it as too much as a micro gesture. This is going to be quite a bold behaviour which may be prolonged somewhat. So if you see someone from a distance sitting in this position, they more than likely going to be in deep in thought in their own world in this closed sort of introverted space. Alright, as I said, it's defensive, it's closed, potentially submissive, and it's not necessarily the prideful, powerful aspect of the head up. So hopefully this was of benefit. If you enjoy what you hear, I'd appreciate if you click like and subscribe. And hopefully one time I'll say that without, forgetting what I need to say. Social media is a bit of a blag, innit? Sending love out to everybody who's clicked subscribe already and, watches my videos. I do appreciate it. Like I said, link in the bio takes you through to my Patreon if you want me to do a custom video on any inquiries you have, or if you simply just want to message me one-on-one with anything you've seen, such as somebody acting this particular way, what does it mean, or how do I make myself seem a particular way, or so on and so forth. Just drop me a message, click the link in my bio. Cheers.